Today we are going to talk about multi-generational travel, which I will explain. So my name is John Hurley. I'm the founder of Leica Pro Travel. I live and work in Los Gatos, but I'm originally from Boston, and so I love to go back to the New England area, and we'll have a few slides on that at the end of the presentation. Um, I love travel. I thought about, kind of midlife career change after 16 years at Apple. And I thought, travel is the one thing I love to do, even if I wasn't getting paid for it. So I used to be a producer in the marketing group, which meant,
Okay.
project managing, looking at budgets, all the details. And so that was a really easy transition for me to move over to travel because I'm still looking at making sure all the details are right. How far is the hotel from the airport? Making sure things go smoothly. So I am really enjoying the travel industry. And today, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about multi-generational travel. So this is grandparents, kids, grandkids. I get a lot of requests for these kind of trips, so I thought we'd look at, different places to go throughout the US and different places to stay through that lens. That said, if you don't have a family to travel with or you don't want to travel with your family, this will still be interesting because we're going to focus on fun places and fun places to stay. So multi-generational travel is big business. It represents 27% of all US leisure travel. Vacations represent about half of all vacations taken by parents and grandparents. And AAA says that 36% of Americans plan to take at least one multi-generational trip this year. So it's happening a lot. I'm sure we've all been on family trips. And so when you're thinking about a trip like this, you really have to consider how many people, that changes kind of where you can stay. And, if you're going to stay in an Airbnb or a hotel or something bigger, how far are you willing to go? Where's everybody flying in from? What's the budget and who's paying for it? This is a good one to figure out before you start going too far. And of course, some properties are really large. Some places are not easy to get around. So thinking about mobility and accessibility for everyone in your group. And the longer you're there, you might need a kitchen. You might get sick of restaurants. So thinking about those kind of requirements. And then the activities, what kind of things do we want to be doing? What time of year is it? Is it a ski vacation? Is it a beach vacation? Having a general sense of that will help us kind of hone in on a good place to go. So at the most basic level, you're either going to stay in a house, everybody together, or a bunch of houses, or a hotel. You could also go on a cruise, which we're going to talk a little bit about at the end. I'm really going to focus on hotels because I think we can all find an Airbnb, but I wanted to kind of surface different hotels and the options at these hotels. Just a little bit of context. My business is very small. It's just me. And I work through a larger company called Fora Travel in New York. So they're kind of reimagining the travel industry. They have the technology and the relationships with all of these great brands. And they're really a force in the industry. So Four Seasons, Marriott, Hyatt, we have those relationships. And our goal is to get, better service, better experience for the customers. So when you're working with a travel advisor, which, it used to be a thing way back when, and then it kind of fell out of style with the internet. It's a benefit that I would do all the research, the planning, the booking of the trip for you. We would obviously be in, conversation the whole time and kind of honing in on options. What I didn't realize about the travel industry is it is very much a relationships and people business. So when you're traveling somewhere, I contact the hotel. I make sure they know you're coming. They put you on the VIP list. We get added benefits at most hotels like $100 credit at the property, daily breakfast for 2 people, which can also be about $100. And then, those added perks like early check-in, upgrade if it's available. The other benefit that I have as a travel advisor is I can reach out to my other travel advisors. There's 3,000 of us through Fora. And so I had a client yesterday who wanted to go to Salzburg, Austria. And so I typed it in and started reading all of the history of people booking and having questions. And so you start to really get a better sense of that without just reading reviews online. So lastly, booking with a travel advisor doesn't cost you anything. The hotels pay commission. The only time I charge a fee is when I'm doing really complicated itinerary planning, like, pick up at the airport, activities, luau's in Hawaii, whatnot. So if you have any questions, please do reach out. I'll provide my contact info at the end. So again, this is meant to inspire. I'm not talking about pricing because that changes so much. Some of these places are very fancy. It's meant to give us an idea of what's out there, but of course you can craft an itinerary that meets your budget. So we're going to start in Hawaii, which is a great place to go. And we're going to move east through the United States and talk about a bunch of great places to stay. So Hawaii, we could spend the whole hour. I love Kauai personally. I love going to Maui. I'm going to hone in on Oahu because there's a great property there and it's really easy to get to with Honolulu. The Ritz-Carlton Oahu, this used to be Turtle Bay, which I visited a couple years ago. It's about an hour from Honolulu, so you drive up to the North Shore. You can see it's a beautiful property on a point. They have their own beach, which is very easy to swim in, and they have a cove there that the kids can play in. They have a golf course, multiple pools. This is an adult's pool looking over the kids' pool. So this is really the kind of place where everybody can find something to do. I ran into friends there, and the daughter was going horseback riding, and the son and the father were going surf lessons, and there are younger kids. They also have a cowboy luau, bike trails, you name it. So you can see the rooms are really nice, and there's 1- and 2-bedroom connecting rooms. But what I love about this property is they also have oceanfront bungalows just off to the side. So you're kind of on your own. It's almost like having a house. And so when you have a bigger group, it's a nice place to gather. These are, a premium to the regular rooms, but it's an option. And this is not an all-inclusive property, but this, they have this club, which a lot of hotels have the club level where you can pay an extra fee per day, but everybody gets access to this beautiful space. So the Ritz actually turned this, used to be the breakfast room, into this giant club. So you can meet the family, they have breakfast, snacks, dinner, appetizers. Not that you want to spend all your time in there, but it is a great place to go and make the most out of your club benefits. So that's just a snippet of Hawaii. I love it as an option. It might not be that great if people are coming from the East Coast. That's about a 10-hour flight. So we're going to move east into our own neighborhood of California, and we're going to go down to Carmel. Some of the people in the audience have stayed at this place. It's called Bernardus Lodge and Spa. This is one of my favorites. It's not overly fancy. It's just really comfortable place to stay. You can see here, they have a large property, but it's pretty contained and easy to get around. These are some 2-bedroom villas, which you can have for the whole group. It's set on 28 beautiful acres in Carmel Valley. It's a 15-minute drive down to the ocean in Carmel itself. Rooms are very comfortable. Again, easy to get around. Every room has a fireplace, a bathtub. They give you wine and snacks in the room, so you're getting a lot of benefit there. And I also just wanted to show one of their 2-bedroom villas, which is It has a dining room and a living room, large patio, and then it has a king room and two doubles on the other side. I'm actually having my birthday here at the end of the year, so it's a great place. We're gonna have 12 people, family and friends. This is a wonderful place to just hang out, and you can have your breakfast in here and then go to the restaurant. Um, Highly recommend Bernardus, and comparatively, it's a good value for a lot of the other hotels in its caliber in California. Moving up north to Napa, this is a stunning property called Stanley Ranch. This is the lobby. So if you're into design and architecture, it's just a magnificent thing to see. This is actually, just lost my slide there. This is a view of kind of overhead the main pool, which has been heated to 80 degrees even in the winter. And you can see all the little kind of cottages around that. So lots of configurations for the rooms. They're very comfortable, very soothing, very upscale. So it's a great place to stay and relax. They have a spa that is absolutely mind-blowing. This is the sauna. It looks out with glass windows onto the property. And you can use that spa as a guest, so you don't have to have a spa appointment to get in there. So it's a really relaxing spot. And that said, there are a lot of kids at the main pool, and so it is family friendly. And if you wanted to splurge, they have these 3 and 4 bedroom villas, which are private homes with a full kitchen. They can stock the kitchen for you, do whatever you need to do. And so it's really like having your own private house with all the benefits of a hotel. Other great thing about these properties, this is an auberge property. They have about 30 in the US and Europe. They really focus on experiences that are local. So they have a garden, you can take a gardening class. They have a bunch of Mercedes that you can take out into wherever you want to go for a couple hours. And a lot of these are free. Some of them, like stargazing and watercolor class, hot air ballooning, those have a fee, but they're creating this itinerary for you that you can kind of pick and choose from. So there's a lot of support there again at a hotel for you just kind of show up and everybody gets to choose what they're going to do. Moving east again, let's go to Tahoe. So the Edgewood, Tahoe has been around since 1968. It's right on South Lake Tahoe. It's a beautiful property. It's been remodeled, very modern. And again, this is an example on the right of a villa that you can rent, 3 or 4 bedrooms, lake views, but you still have access to the restaurants, the activities, the spa. Speaking of activities, this is their fall lineup. I think most of these are free. So DIY pickling workshop, archery clinic, pumpkin carving, candied apple workshop. If you're not hiking or skiing, you can come back to the hotel and do something fun. So again, it's really built-in entertainment at these kind of high-end hotels. Moving south down to Disney, I could spend the whole hour talking about Disney. Fall is a great time to visit, a little less busy. This is an example of the Grand Floridian, not Floridian, Grand Californian. So it's an on-property hotel. You can get a bunch of rooms. Everybody can kind of, the grandparents can sit in the hotel and relax. The kids can go off to the park, and then you meet back. Disney, they have Aulani on Oahu as well, which is a big resort. They have the cruises and then international Disney. So just wanted to touch on that. We couldn't go without it. Moving on to Las Vegas, this is probably not at the top of your list for a family vacation, but I actually did have my father's 80th birthday here a few years ago. And we rented a car and went out to the Hoover Dam, did a lot of things outside of the strip. but there's so much to do. This is an example. You can drive a backhoe and crush a car. You can rent a race car. This on the right is Meow Wolf, which is a art installation group that started in Santa Fe and Denver and now in Vegas. So this is a supermarket where you can walk into the refrigerators and explore. So again, lots going on in Vegas. And they have to, you have to give Vegas credit for like the most over the top hotel room. So this was the Delano, which is right next to MGM, but it doesn't have a casino, so it's a little bit more subdued. This was the room I rented for my father's birthday during the week. It was a lot cheaper than it normally is on the weekend. And again, we brought the whole family. There's my brother and his daughter. We went to the shark experience at Mandalay Bay. We went to a show, had great dinners. So again, think about Vegas. It's easy to get to in the US and a lot of flights and a lot of hotel options. Moving on to Idaho. Again, I haven't actually been to Idaho, but lots of potential here and beauty. I had a client earlier in the year who came to me and said she wants to take the whole family, grandparents and kids, to a dude ranch. So they had a lot of requirements. They needed to be under 3,000 feet because of health issues, close to an airport. They wanted one house for everybody in the family, but they also wanted to cook and had some vegan requirements. So I did some research. A lot of dude ranches are higher elevation because they're in Montana, Colorado. We found this one in Harrison, Idaho, right near Spokane, Washington. It's a massive property. They do everything for you. So we got them a house. It's called the Hilltop House. It had 3 bedrooms, a separate entrance for one part of the family, full kitchen that they'll stock. And they also have all meals included. So that's kind of an added benefit. And so this is the kind of place, again, they don't even really suggest renting a car because you won't use it. You just go there and enjoy. And they even have a adults night where the staff takes the kids off and plays with them, gives them dinner, while the adults get to have a really nice meal in the lodge. So dude ranches, they are expensive. I was surprised, but it is all inclusive. And so there's a lot of options there on that front. Moving on to Arizona, again, Phoenix is cool. There's a lot of properties down there. I love Sedona. This is called the Enchantment Resort. Again, a lot of options with 1, 2, 3 bedrooms and so many activities. Mountain biking, hiking, the pink Jeep tours. I went on one years ago where you take the Jeep up the rocks and, it's like you're really out in the wilderness. And so it's an adventure. So this is a good option. And it's close to the Grand Canyon. And, I'm not going into the national parks too much, but I've also gone on family trips where we rent a house or stay in a hotel near Yosemite or Yellowstone. So something to think about there. They do get very busy in the summer. New Mexico, this is a 2-hour flight to Albuquerque. It's a whole different world. I love Santa Fe. Bishop's Lodge is another auberge property that is right outside of Santa Fe itself. It really has the feeling of that history in Southwest, experience. It's on 300 acres, so it is a large hilly property. But what I love is they have this barn called the Bunkhouse, which sleeps 24 people. So you can rent out the entire thing, either for a corporate group or for your family. And you have like 10 bedrooms on the side and then this massive lobby with the fireplace. And so you're getting, again, your own home and your own space, but with the spa, the pool, the restaurants, all of the activities. This is just some examples from their website of ceramics and horseback riding. And then you get to go down, it's a 10-minute drive to Santa Fe, which has a lot going on and a lot of art galleries and much different feel than we have on our day-to-day. So highly recommend New Mexico, and there's some great places in Albuquerque as well. Colorado, winter, summer, this is a great place to visit. Really easy to get to Denver. The Broadmoor in Colorado Springs. This is one of those grand hotels that was built in the early 1900s. I think they have 750 rooms. It is just a massive property, and it's the kind of place, again, where you don't really have to leave. They have a bowling alley, a movie theater, dude ranch experience. So think about Colorado, lots of places to go there. This one's pretty easy to get to, and I'm sure lots of hiking and options around it. And then, you know, the rooms are probably decently priced, and you can get a lot of rooms together. So Tennessee, I've been to Tennessee, you know, 20 years ago, and I stayed actually at the Gaylord Opryland for a corporate event. I threw this in here because it's just a fun place. It's right outside Nashville. It has like this massive complex with shops and water parks. You can see here a water slide. And then you're able to go to downtown Nashville for the music and the bars and all kinds of activities around there. But the hotel, again, is kind of a experience in itself. So option there. And then as a travel advisor, I hadn't heard of this. This is kind of the ultimate experience among the rich and famous, so to speak. So this is called Blackberry Farm. It's used to be a home that this family has turned into a beautiful luxury property. And they have a sister property called Blackberry Mountain. So this one in the Great Smoky Mountains, it's 30 minutes from Knoxville. It really is a wellness retreat. It is on thousands of acres with only 20 rooms. And so beautifully designed, all-inclusive food, lots of experiences here. They do cater to families. This is definitely like the higher price point of anything we're talking about, but it is kind of that once in a lifetime experience. So put Tennessee on your list of things to look at. Kind of getting toward the end of the US, New England, my home state. Boston is a great place to visit any time of year. I've been back multiple times this summer and going in a couple weeks for the leaf peeping. This is the central kind of Boston Common with the swan boats, which date back, you know, not hundreds of years, tens of years. The beautiful fall foliage, the waterfront, the aquarium, Faneuil Hall, so much to do in Boston. And a great place to stay is the Langham. It's really close, it's family friendly, it still has that luxury hotel feel. They have a pool, a couple of restaurants. They also have a club level, which is really nice. And you can kind of have your breakfast here as a group. When you pay for the club, you get the free breakfast, drinks all day, alcoholic drinks as well. You can pick up a book and just read here. And so it's a great place to have access to these clubs. They also have a restaurant called Grana, which is an Italian brunch restaurant. It's in the old Federal Reserve building in Boston. You can see the floors, beautifully inlaid, a lot of history here. And so this is kind of a good example of the Boston deep, deep history that you get, and it's permeating throughout the hotel. This is one of my favorite places, Cape Cod. I just got married on the Cape in May, and so the Chatham Bars Inn is kind of the premier place to visit. It's an old grand hotel, again, built in the early 1900s. They have their own pool, tennis, a golf course, spa. It's a beautiful place to stay. They have a main inn and then the cottages throughout the property. So lots of different kind of configurations. This was a one-bedroom cottage where you can kind of meet and have your breakfast and get everybody together. They also have a like 10-person cottage. This octagon house on the left, you can see you can rent out the entire house. And again, Cape Cod, so many things to do: biking, tennis, boating, whale watch, just going to the beach. They have a private beach, which they'll take you out on the boat. So love Cape Cod, lots of ideas there if you're interested. Newport, Rhode Island. I actually, I grew up an hour and a half away from there. I had never been until this summer. Beautiful town. This is the Breakers, which is the kind of most famous mansion, the Vanderbilt mansion. So you can walk along the cliff, you can visit the mansions. You can see in the background, there's the port and the harbor, which is a really great place to visit. And I wanted to showcase another auberge hotel called the Vanderbilt, which is just a beautiful property that opened a couple years ago. You can see it's this old brick mansion, again, a summer house kind of thing of the Vanderbilts, a smaller one. Lot of history here, so many activities. Newport it feels like you're in a movie, just walking down the street, looking at all the shops and the restaurants and the boats. So I highly recommend that area. And again, you can fly into Providence, you can fly into Boston. It's an hour and a half away. I did mention up front cruises. And so I am able to book all sorts of cruises. We have relationships with all of these top, cruise lines. Viking, Virgin is definitely making a splash. Royal Caribbean, and there are cruises for very specific needs. If you want to skew an older crowd and not have as many kids, Regent and Silversea are good. You have the Viking River cruises, and then you have National Geographic and Ponant are more focused on expedition up in Alaska. But I wanted to kind of wrap it up with the Ritz-Carlton yacht, which launched a couple of years ago. This is like a whole new category for cruising. They have 2 boats. They have only 300 people on them, and about 300 crew. So it really is your own kind of custom yacht experience. Not a lot of crowds, a lot of space, beautifully designed. It's meant to feel like a Ritz-Carlton on the water. Lots of different room types. You can have a giant owner suite that looks out over the whole thing and costs a fortune, but for the right occasion, it might make sense. So they are actually moving out to the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, Barcelona, Athens, and now they have Japan itineraries. So they're adding another ship. And while we're on the subject, the Four Seasons is also launching their own yacht. So this is definitely a hot space in the cruising, is kind of this ultra luxury category. So that we kind of whipped through it very quickly. If there's a next time, we can talk about London, villas in Italy, the Caribbean, Asia, safari. A lot of people go on safari.
Fun, John.
Yes. So open to any questions and feel free to contact me if you want to chat about anything.
John, we have some questions on the chat. We have Chatham Inn opens year round. They're asking if it's New England spots are open only in the summer, they heard.
The Chatham bars, I've gone there in November. I'm going there actually for New Year's Eve. So they do stay open throughout the year. They might close January, February, March because it's just kind of dismal on the Cape.
Oh, okay.
But definitely, then at Christmas, they decorate the holidays and have gingerbread houses and trains, and it's a very festive in the December, November timeframe.
Wow. I was just there last week.
Really?
Yes, it's beautiful. It's beautiful there.
I love it. I love the wood paneling inside, and the hydrangeas outside during the summer.
Oh, we have somebody raising their hand. If you can unmute and just ask John the questions. V Amato.
Yeah, so thank you. How far in advance do you recommend planning something like this?
I'm a planner, I have trips booked for next May to go to London and Ireland. I think the earlier you get on it, the better you have options for flights and the hotels. Well, you're not getting a last minute deal. The prices always go up with hotels toward the end. So at least 6 months out. I mean, that said, if people's schedules don't align and you need to do something quickly, it's possible. It's better to lock it in and know what you're going to do. And I will also say with mileage, if you use points and credit card points and all that, if you look 11 months out, they release new availability, so you can get some really good deals by clicking on the calendar and looking a year out. And so I booked a trip in May based on the flight availability because I got a great deal from Paris to SFO.
Great. There's another question. Sunny J said, can you do another presentation for Europe? I would like to hear you about Europe too.
Yeah, I was almost considering adding like rent. I've talked to a lot of people who rent villas in Tuscany. London is my favorite city, so I would be happy to do that. It just felt like too much for this presentation, but
next time. Yeah,
definitely.
Any other questions? And I can also send to everybody that register your information so they can contact you.
All right. Sure. Great.
Thank you so much, John. I'm
you.
personally very inspired to travel now.
I know it's a dangerous business for me because I'm always getting inspired to book another trip.
Right. And I'm interested in hearing about safari too. That would be interesting.
Yes. So many options.
Thank you, John.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.